Hey guys, watching Volgar's videos yet again. This time I'm doing an actual beer. Depends for you what you consider beer, but this actually says ale. I see brewing. Oh well, so this is a beer that doesn't say beer on it, but can we agree that Keystone Ice is a beer? I never said it's a good beer or a bad beer. It's a beer. Alright? Oh yeah. Before I forget. The price I spent on this was $5.79 for a 6-pack. So that would be 96 cents, just over 96 cents per can. I'd rather have this. This is 5.9. Than this, that's 6%. It just tastes like apple juice. I mean, what is this? What is this? Kool-Aid? Forget it. Alright. So, Keystone Ice is 5.9% brewed by the Coors Company, Coors Brewing, which nowadays Coors Miller is the same, Saab Miller. I think this is a different formula than the Canadian version of Keystone Ice, which I watched, what's his name? Albino Rhino. Him and his buddies reviewed the Keystone Ice beer, and I can't remember what rating they gave. I think it was a 3 or a 1, something like that. This is one of the worst beers they've ever had. Before I tell you what I thought, because I have had one, I was thirsty at the time, so that might be different. Let me go back to Beer Advocate. Okay. Come on, phone. Try to delete some apps. Google search. Calculator I'm done with. It's only 3. That should be enough. Okay. Beer Advocate score is 45. Awful, right? You know, we all know how Beer Advocate knows their beers, right? And the bros say 50. Awful. The beer average, or I don't know why it's our average. Nobody reads Beer Advocate. It should say B average. Beer Advocate average. No, that's not true. U average. User average. You know, user reviews. 1.72. Out of 482 ratings. 131 reviews. American Electric Lager, of course. 5.9%. Already said that. Brewed by Coors in Colorado. Alright, that's all I can say on that behalf. What happened to my music? Did it kill itself? Whatever. Alright, enough rambling. Cracked this open. When I went to my friend's house, I had a 6-pack of these. It took me 40 minutes to get them cold. I don't know if their freezer sucks or what. But yeah, it took 40 minutes before I got them to get cold. Plus I was checking every 10 minutes. That probably didn't help. But yeah, if I put it in my fridge out here, it'll be cold. Like, you can feel coldness, but not real cold. Like, it would just be hitting 50 degrees or 40. But then within the next 10 minutes, it'll be really cold. But because that fridge is a freezer, it's a fridger. Alright. First smell, I just smell beer. So let's pour it out. Alright, so there we go. I poured it so I can get ahead. If you pour it to the side the whole way with adjunct lagers like Bud Miller Coors, anything else by Bud Miller Coors, probably Dos Equis, Genesee, you know, pretty much anything that's cheap beer. Typically, if you pour the whole thing on the side the whole time, you're not going to get ahead. If you do, it's going to get a tiny little skim. And a lot of people that review people review beers and then criticize American adjunct beers, Bud Miller Coors, or anything in between. It's cheap. They criticize it because it doesn't have a head. Well, you gotta learn to pour your beer for the appropriate beer. It's got some bubbles going on, and there you have it. It smells, you smell the corn, the adjuncts, you smell that, but it's cheap. This is less than $1 a can, and it's 5.9%. However, it's still not as cheap as, I was gonna say my favorite, but it's not as much as my favorite anymore. I just like the brand a lot. I was gonna say this one, I can get this at a store 7 miles from me, which is, first store in town. That's not 5.9%. I don't know how much the decibel percent matters, but you can get a whole 6-pack. After deposit, $5. It's like $4.68 or something like that. That's pretty damn cheap. All right. Now that I let it sit, the head did kind of go away, but it still has head to lace. Anyways, let's chug this bitch. It does have a weird corn flavor, but it is dirt cheap. And I saw this and I thought, the Canadians, Alabama Rhino and the gang, they hated this beer. They said it tastes like crap. They said it was horrible. Then again, my side of things, I don't drink a lot of fancy beers. Like, the fanciest I drink is Samuel Adams Pyramid, Portland, Widmer, if you classify that as a little more expensive, and that's pretty much it for the. It's not even expensive. It's just a little higher end. I mean, the most expensive I've spent on a beer or gotten a beer or whatever was $3 something. Like, this is probably one of the more expensive ones, because that much for a little can. Whoops, they have a Mario placemat. Alright, well, going back to the beer, it does smell corny, Coors smells a lot cleaner than that, but then when you amp up the alcohol content and it's ice brewed, then you get the adjuncts kind of shine. But it's not really that bad. But honestly, it did taste a lot better after I was yeah, after I was doing that. What I'm saying is, it's a lot better when you have dry mouth. A lot of people, if somebody says, "Oh, that beer tastes like shit," and then I'll be like, "It tastes great when you got dry mouth." So yeah, so here's the pros and cons. Pro, it's cheap. $5.69, 5.9%. It's a beer. 3. It puts up lacing. That's what it looks like when I pour it straight down. Like that. Which, if you pour a beer straight down, that's not recommended, in my opinion, because you get so much head. Sometimes you can get lucky and the head kind of disappears really quickly, but sometimes it just wants to sit around. And then, I don't know about you, but I don't like sticking my nose up at adjuncts fluff, if you know what I mean. If it's a fancier beer like Pyramid or Portland, ew, that was a good swig. Alright, so I'm gonna give this beer... I don't know. Let me think for a second. Man, my eyes. I gave Miller Fortune a 7.3. This is a 5.9. It's a lot cheaper than Miller Fortune. I think it's worth a 7. A 6.9 to a 7.1. Depending on if you're going to be drinking this when you're getting stoned, then it's... Which I don't... You know, then you're like... You might be thinking, wait, why would you want to drink cheap Keystone beer when you're getting stoned? Why don't you just drink water? Like... Because, I don't know about you, but I kind of like the prickly, you know... I like the taste of beer. Yeah. Drink water, but what are we? Dogs? I don't know. But if you're really looking for flavor, this is not the beer for you. This is a cheap ice beer. And let me take a second. I'm gonna grab my camcorder here to go browse around ice beers. Okay, that's Genesee Ice. That's 5.5. And then we have Ice House. I'd probably put that below Ice House. But then again, it's 5.5%. Natural Ice over there, that's 5.9. That tastes really corny. And I think that goes below Keystone Ice just slightly. In my opinion, it does. As for Natty Daddy down there, I think that one's better than Natty Ice. Because it doesn't taste as corny and thick. What's another ice beer I have sitting around? Oh, Milwaukee's Best Ice. That one's a better one, but like I said, it's better if you have dry mouth and you don't really care about the flavor. You just want getting the mouth, you know, cutting the grass, whatever. You take a swig. That's a good one. Bud Ice, right there. That one. Actually, I think I'll tie Bud Ice with Keystone Ice. They both have similar qualities. However, they're from two completely different companies. So I think I gave Bud Ice a 6.8 or something. I don't remember. But that was cheap too. Oh boy, Burpsaholics. 13 minutes in this video. Damn. Alright, so Keystone Ice. If you're looking for a beer just to have on reserve, you know, let me tell you something. Okay, if you don't have high standards about beers like me, you'll drink pretty much any beer that you know, and you'll drink about any beer. I'll even drink the ciders like I have, which I don't like because it's just so pussy willow. You know, it's just apple juice with alcohol. But anyways, if you have some picky friends or if you buy beer and then you have people come over and drink your beer and then you kind of get sick of people drinking your beer, buy Keystone Ice. Maybe they won't want to drink it anymore. Maybe they will. Depends on how picky they are. But that's one aspect to look at it. Another thing is it's cheap. There's alcohol content, and it gets it done. You know, it's thin. It hits the spot. Actually, taste of this reminds me of Ice House Edge, except for Ice House Edge is 8%. So I don't know what to tell you about that, but yeah, I give it a 6.8, a 6.9. It tastes a lot. You're not gonna notice the adjuncts if you have dry mouth. You're super thirsty. You want something that quench your thirst, maybe get you a light buzz. Nothing to get you cross-faded or Well, if you have a bunch of them, but if you have a couple. But yeah, it's a decent go-to shit beer. Is what I'm trying to say. I'd rather drink this than, I don't know, maybe Budweiser, but I think Budweiser's more expensive too. So I'd rather drink this than Dos Equis because this is cheaper and higher percent. So yeah, there's all kinds of different things to consider when you look at Keystone Ice, but the number one thing to consider is the percentage. It's 5.9 and it's cheap. And for me, I could say I've tried it. It's not that bad. It's definitely better than Camo and Stack up there. Yeah, so if you think it's worth giving it a shot, go ahead and try it out. But I mean, let me tell you right now, it's nothing special. It's just Keystone Ice. Oh, one more thing. I would much rather drink Keystone Ice than the regular Keystone, because the regular Keystone, from what I remember, I didn't do a review on it, and I should have, knowing how addicted I am to making video reviews. It was last year, and I thought, oh well, I think I've tried everything else here. It's cheap. I'll try this, and it was only, I think it was 4.3% or 4.2. It was 4.1. I can't remember, but the same adjuncty corny taste was in it, but it was only 4.1%. Now this is 5.9. I can put up with the crappy adjuncty taste because it's 5.9%. Now it would be more hilarious if Coors brought out a Keystone, like a Keystone Silver or Keystone Gold or Keystone Black Ice or something like that, to where it went from 5.9% to like 8.1%. So they would compete with Steel Reserve and Hurricane and all that shit. That'd be hilarious. But I see Keystone on the side of the road every once in a while, but it's not really a popular beer, I don't think. But whatever. That's enough of me rambling about beer. Stay tuned for next time. This is Volgor, signing off. 6.9.